Hey y'all, this is David, the Georgia photographer, and today what I want to do is a little live stream and chat with you guys for a little while about Nikon. I'm just going to go down the Nikon rabbit hole today. Okay, I got to minimize this window. Oh, come on, minimize. I'm trying to make things work here. I've got myself painted into a corner as usual. Alright. Oh, you get my chat out and running here. Let's pop out the chat. There's a button that lets me do that. No, that ain't it. Pop out chat. There we go. Now I have a separate chat window that I can see on my screen. I learned my lesson last time about running dual screens on OBS. You have the preview screen and the actual projection that goes out to the internet, and I get confused which one's which. So you can disable that mode and just run one screen, and I can see right beneath the camera here what's actually being projected to the internet. So got that sorted out. Okay, what I'm gonna do is chat for a minute and let some people show up on the stream, or at least if you haven't yet. Oh, there's people here, I think. Drop me a note in the chat box. I'm making sure everything's up and running like I need to. Ah, there's Ray. Yes. There we go. I'll throw a comment. I know we are getting old, but 1:44 isn't late night. It's late night somewhere. Okay. I just didn't want to change the theme of the things, but going forward, yeah, I think it's late night in probably India. Because you had 12 hours, or Japan, maybe Japan. They're 12 hours off from us, or 13 or something. But, all right. Oh, what's that? It just gave me some kind of metric. Oh, it's showing me the concurrent viewers. Okay, we don't need that. All right. Hello, Joe. How you doing? Editing images. That'll work. Gives you something profitable, or not profitable. What is it? Industrious to do. That'd be the right word. I was looking at Nikon rumors, and I was thinking about some things. Let me just kick this over here. And there's a new 35mm f1.8 lens coming out from, is that Siri and Sirui or Siri? I'm assuming it's Siri, but we don't know for sure. It's a good looking lens, autofocus. Everybody's bragging about how great it is. The price isn't excessive. You know, it's if you hop over to B&H here, let's see, if we do that, it's $549 for a brand new autofocus lens. It has an iris lock. I wonder what that's about. That's probably for transport. I would have to read into that to understand. Let's see, does it tell in the description? Oh, no, not really. Compatibility, accessories. Oh, look, they recommend several $100s worth of accessories. Anyway, this is a good-looking lens. It's got a function button on it, too. That's cool. Then down here, I see the auto manual function. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's probably for transport. I remember there was some old nickel glass you could lock the aperture on. No, you could lock the zoom. That was what the 2-500 had a zoom lock, and that was for transport. So I'm not sure what the iris lock is about. Maybe this is fly-by-wire and set it, and then you lock it, then you can remove it and put it on a camera. No, they're all going to have it because this is Z-mount. That ain't going to work. No, I'm trying to think of ways that would make some sense, but maybe that's to keep you from accidentally changing it. Maybe you want to set it a certain aperture and leave it there. I don't know. That's a new feature for me that I ain't used to seeing. We'll just say that. What have I done here? Where is my... Oh, it's here. Yeah, there we go. Sue Ray. According to YouTube videos, it's similar to saying Sue and Ray. S-I-R-U-I, and there is no A. And welcome to pronouncing words from another country in the English language. All right. We'll hop back to here for a minute. But I saw that on Nikon Rumors, and it's a pretty good looking lens just from looking at things. And then they've got another word I can't probably pronounce right, Miki. They call it the MIX24 f1.4 4 frame autofocus. So another company's making a 24 millimeter f1.4, and it's even O-ring sealed. Shoot, look at this. It's got O-ring. It's got a gasket. It's gasketed, so it'll seal off properly. And that came out on Nikon Rumors just a few days ago on August 8th. It's a good looking lens too. It's got a few switches. Let's see. Oh, it's a function button and probably the autofocus, manual focus switch. And of course, autofocus or auto aperture control is you dial the ring till the A is on it. So it's like all the other lenses. But 1.4 to f16 is kind of normal. It's a good looking lens. And then here's the one that Phil Thatch, I think, reviewed the other day, which is the 40 millimeter f2 for the Nikon Z mount from TT Artisan. And that's a great little lens. Everything I've seen from TT Artisan has always been wonderful glass. I have yet to see anything that wasn't. I've got several of them behind the camera that are in L mount for my Leicas, and I use them on the Leica CL pretty heavily, and they work beautifully on that camera. It's really good looking glass. For what you're paying for it, you're getting a bargain. Like this one's autofocus for $168 is what they're saying, the announced price. So let's see. If we go to the B&H website, yeah, $168. You know, and of course there's going to be some tax and shipping if I had to guess. Of course, if you use the Paybu card from B&H, you don't pay tax. Somehow, I don't know how they figured that out, but they have. But yeah, that's a good deal when you're looking at their primes. And this one's autofocus. All the ones I've got are all manual focus, which it's right there, and it'll be a big headache to move all this to get to it. But the 35 millimeter f1.4 APS-C TT Artisan lens, I bought it brand new for like $77, and that was shipped. It was dirt cheap, and it's a gorgeous little lens. Don't weigh nothing. That's not weather sealed, and it doesn't have any electronics, so you don't have all of those wonderful amenities, but it's there. Greetings from Jacob in the Netherlands. How you doing today? I'm used to doing this at night, but I want to do another quick check with you guys. Is the audio synced well? Because I've got it set at 500 milliseconds, and looking at the screen that I see on OBS, it doesn't synchronize, and I've tried like 30 different numbers, and nothing seems to push them together. I fixed my computer. I replaced the motherboard, the CPU, and the RAM because I upgraded to a newer brand or a newer generation of motherboard, so that's why I got RAM. But it now works faster, and the actual delay between the audio and video is different. So I need to work those differences out. I figured it out in the video editing. If you watch today's video that dropped, the last clip at the video was shot here in the studio, and it's actually out of sync just slightly, and that was because I was using the old settings. So I need someone to let me know if the sync is good. Doing good, thanks. Audio is great. Sorry I missed the start. You're good to go. Good. I'm glad the synchronization seems to be working better. But I fixed all of my crashing and random reboot issues with apparently the other motherboard had some kind of a thermal issue that once it got to a certain temperature, and then if you did something that produced some load on it, it would actually just trip the dadgum motherboard and make it reboot. It just do random reboots. And I looked it up, and supposedly it was a thing on Linux, but that was like 5 years ago, and no one had talked about it since. Now I'm running just great. I got 32 threads, and I don't know how many cores, a lot. I got a new i9 14900K CPU and a motherboard and like 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. It's a lot faster. Like the exporting of videos is way faster than that old computer was. And it had an AMD CPU in it, so it was like a 5700 something. And it only had DDR3 RAM. So I know I skipped a couple of generations by jumping by the name of the RAM. By upgrading the RAM, I figured that much out. You're here on the iPhone. Cool. Let's see. But getting back over to this, these lenses are all looking great. But what I was looking for was, nope, that's the TTRs and lens. That's where we looked it up on the web page. That's the web page. That's the web page. Yeah. This was what I was looking for. All right. There was a rumor right here. Last December is when Nikon Rumors published this. This looks real to me. It's entirely plausible. It's a Photoshop rendering, but like the screw drive mechanism is in the right place. You can see where they've made a provision for the motor. I mean, then autofocus, manual focus on those cameras literally disconnects the screw drive from the motor. It's like a clutch that actually disconnects them so that you can freewheel it, if that makes sense. The contacts are in the right place for F mount. I mean, if you look on here, on this lens, the contacts are up here on the perimeter. They're not on the face. So yeah, all of that's in the right spot. And we'll get back to this in a minute. But I had really, really high hopes that this was going to come to fruition. And this one's saying Nikon is to launch it. And I understand why Nikon would want to move you to the Z mount, because then they get to sell you lenses. And they want the community to move to the Z mount and to buy lenses because they need to sell stuff to stay in business. That's just standard economics. I also know that they have a huge loyal following of people that would give anything to have this adapter. That if they could get their hands on this, they would be tickled pink to be able to use their older AF glass on their new Z mount camera. I was really stoked to see this rendering. I am at this point pretty convinced that this is probably Photoshop. If it's a prototype, it'd be cool. But you know, it's all there, like the little lever arm to move the aperture blade. Everything's showing like you would expect it to, you know. But we haven't seen it, and no one's mentioned it since last Christmas. And that makes me wonder, are they having trouble? Because I'll hop back over to this other one. Mega Dap had rumored that they were going to make an adapter. And they have since launched the Sony E to Nikon Z and the Canon EF to Nikon Z. And they've got both of these adapters working. And in theory, someone said that you could get, I want to say, no, this one's the Sony E camera or lens to Nikon Z camera. Yeah, that one won't do it either. Somebody was supposedly stacking adapters and was able to get Nikon AF to Sony E and then go from Sony E to Nikon Z. And those two adapters, and you know, somehow they were able to get an adapter in between them, but they don't list it on their website. So I don't think that's actually a real thing either. Maybe somebody else made it. I haven't really been able to put that together, because I was digging around on Amazon and found a bunch of adapters, but I have found a bunch of Reddit threads where people say that when you cross-brand the mounts, the different adapters, they don't communicate properly. That the firmware written between each device doesn't have the right protocols or whatever it is to make them talk to each other like you would need them to. At the end of the day, that's what I'm really wanting, though. And I would be happy if Mega Dap would do it. I don't care who makes it. I just want somebody to make one. let's see. Was wondering, did you ever try the Tech Art Pro TMZ02, which will make the M mount lenses autofocus? No, I haven't done it yet. I saw it, and I understand the principle of operation. You focus the lens to infinity, I'm pretty sure was the way it's set up. And then it has a little motor that runs a mini helicoid back and forth, because the focus range on M-mount lenses is only 1/4 of an inch max. So they only have to move that lens in and out just a little bit to move that focus range. It was a good concept. I haven't bought one and played with it, though. I only have 1 or 2 M-mount lenses. I don't really have many of them. Because I got L-mount cameras. Mine being L-mount, I tend to look for L-mount glass for my Leicas. I do have the R-mount, that's the R8, but I haven't messed with it. And I know they make the same mount for F and other stuff, so that you can use the vintage, like AIS lenses on them, supposedly. Yeah, see, Jacob's even in agreement. If they ever do make the AFD to Z mount adapters, he wants one too. They would sell a blue million of them. They'd sell out. Whatever however many they tooled up made, if they made 10,000 of them, they'd sell them all that day. I guarantee it. They would not have one left, because there's an enormous community of people shooting those vintage lenses. And a lot of people, that's the reason they haven't made the leap to Z mount, because they have cameras that have screw drive focus motors in them that lets them use this glass, and they like the lenses, and they don't want to move. They don't want to have to sell off all these lenses and buy all these lenses. They just want to use them, you know. And yeah, this is kind of beating a dead horse a little bit, but not totally. Let me get back up to the top of this page. But Nikon Rumors hasn't even mentioned it since last December. That was when they brought this up, yeah. And I found it on December 14th of last year is when they made this post. And before that, I think they made the one where you see, is it Matt Granger is talking about, he's doing a video short, I think it is, and he's talking about putting an F mount or an AF lens on a Z mount camera, and he's got an adapter. I believe it's from Mega Dap. It was a prototype, and he was messing with it. And he was saying they were having some focusing issues. I want to say that they were sorting out. But I was just looking at that, and I was thinking, man, it's been almost another year already. You know, it's 7 months, 8 months nearly past when that was released, and we still haven't seen the adapter yet, which tells me there's either some kind of problem with getting it to work right, or, you know, it's buggy and that it does work, but it doesn't work as good as they want it to, or there's some kind of manufacturing problem they're having. And supposedly Nikon, from what I understand, is moving all of that Chinese manufacturing somewhere else. Now, they already have factories in the Philippines, because I have seen lenses that were made in the Philippines, I'm pretty sure, from Nikon. Like, I think my little 35 f1.8 I had back years ago was a Philippine lens. So I know they've got satellite manufacturing in other countries, but I think they're trying to get out of China because of the whole trade war deal with the USA, and so they're trying to move that. I'm assuming that's what's happening, but I'm making a lot of assumptions there, basically because of that. Oh, there it is. Hey, Ron, how you doing today? Thank you for hopping in for a minute. Jacobs is on to something. Same thing I was saying. He said, heard Nikon solved the problem with the AFD lenses. It's called buying an old DSLR. If you buy one of the ones that's in the 100 series systems or the single digit systems, they have the focus motor in the body. The only one with the 1,000 series digit systems was the 7,000 series, and they had the focus motor in the body. The 3,000 family and the 5,000 family don't have the internal focus motor. The camera's physically too small to hold it. You know, but this was how I temporarily solved it. Yes, that's a DSLR. It's 20 years old. I looked it up. The D200 launched in 2005. Has a 10 megapixel CCD sensor. That was another reason I picked this one. Another reason I picked it was $100. Honestly, I gave $100 for the camera. Now, since it was so cheap, and I was on MPB's website, and they were suggesting crap at the bottom, they had legit Nikon battery grips for like $45. Nikon grip, not Vivitar, not whatever. That's an actual Nikon battery grip, and it was like $45 extra. I got like $150 in the camera body and a battery grip, and it come with a legit Nikon battery, not an aftermarket battery. A Nikon ENEL 3 or whatever. It's not the ENEL 15s that like the newer generations, but it's a new battery because it shows the battery life indicator in the camera. When you go to the battery info, it shows it to be a new battery. So I got a brand new battery out of the deal too for $150. Score. These things take gorgeous photos, and the CCD sensor has incredible color rendering. If you've never used a CCD camera, it's worth just grabbing one to play with, and you can get into photography cheap that way. This will mount all of the old manual focus glass. I have the 50mm f1.4 AFD on it right now, which is a screw drive focus lens, and it works flawlessly. I'll juice it up here. If I hit the focus button, let's see. Now here's what you get with this. Hear the motor? But it focuses. I did a photo walk the other day in Trenton with it to play with it. I think my Trenton, I'm taking a play out of Matt Day's playbook and taking his suggestion, and I'm going to do a photo project on my hometown, which is Trenton, Georgia. Now, I grew up in Lafayette, but I've lived in Trenton longer than I lived in Lafayette at this point. So, since I claim Trenton as home now because of that. And I started my photo walks the other day. I started out, and I used this. Is it heavy? Yeah, because I bought a set of batteries, like $25, I think, on Amazon for 2 batteries and a USB-C charger. And that's the main reason I got it, was I wanted that USB-C charger, because Nikon chargers work great, but they're slow, but B, you can only charge 1 battery at a time, and they require 120 volt US power. So if I travel abroad, a USB charger is a godsend. I can take one of those universal power adapters, and I can run that charger anywhere I go. I don't have to get a special charger for Europe or wherever, you know. A lot of countries run 220 volt power, and once you learn that, you learn that you got to have a way that's more universal than 120 volt US plugs. So that's why I'm real big on USB-C charging now. But yeah, so I did spend a little extra money. I bought a memory card because I thought I had some CF cards, and I did. I had a 512 megabyte one. Recording a RAW and a JPEG to the card, it would record 19 photos. It's like shooting a roll of film. That was the only one I had at the time, so I played with it with that until I got a 32 gig card, and it says it'll hold 1,200 images. I don't understand how 64 times the memory gives me literally 1,000 times the photos or somehow, but it does. I guess it has to do with the way it partitions the memory. But yeah, seriously, $100. You don't have to have the battery grip. I just splurged and got it. This camera is in rough shape, is what they classified it as. It's serviceable. The rubber is coming off a little bit here and there, like the rubber grip around the, well, there we go. The rubber grip is coming loose here. It's been glued back on with contact cement here. There's a little bit of edge. It was $100. Come on, you know. There's a crack in the cover on the display, but let me let it boot up. Oh, there's no folders because I erased it. Let me see. Here. See if it'll take a photo of that. Oh, it's blurry. But the screen works. The screen ain't bad. It's just got a little crack right here. So for a rough and tumble camera, it works fine. There's literally nothing wrong with it. Huh? Okay, everything's functioning. Let's see. All right. Let me jump over here. Okay. All right. Says, let me list my DSLR bodies since 2000. D1X, D100, D50, 3300, 5500, 7200, 7500, 70, and a D200. I think that's it. Wow. This is my third D200. First one I gave to my nephew, Jeremy. He still has it. We went on a photo walk the other day with that. He brought that one. And then the second one, I must have sold it at some point because I can't find it anywhere. And I don't remember what I did with it. So apparently I probably sold it. And I probably put it on eBay and liquidated it because I wasn't shooting with it or something. But yeah. Nice list. Yeah, it is. I use the D80. Well, like the 2-digit cameras, the D50 and the D80 and the D70, will those screw dry focus? Because I don't know. I've never had one of those. So I have no idea. They're all gone. Use the D1X with the 17 to 35 to shoot weddings for over a year. Shot weddings with a D1X, which is the pro grade body. It was the first digital pro grade. I am Nikon. That's awesome. Yeah, it does take very saturated images. I noticed. I've got photos with it where I walked around town, and I noticed, man, the colors are very vibrant, especially like the reds and yellows. They literally kind of jump out of the camera at you. I don't know if I can get them to come up here or not. Let's see. Maybe I can. You have to excuse me. I had a head cold overnight, and it made me cough a lot. NyQuil let me sleep, but it still happened. Yeah, let's see. Let's go into this folder. Let's see. Yeah, let me just hop you over to the other screen. I took this photo for the OCD people out there. I don't know who designed this building or what they were trying to accomplish, but the staircase is not centered in the doorway, and that just has to mess with people. I don't know what the deal was with it, but look how saturated the red is here. The green is a little bit too, but yeah, it's really interesting to seeing that. And you can see how the yellow in the sign just kind of jumps out at you. Uh-oh, what have I done here? I hit the hot corner and locked my screen. Hopefully y'all didn't have to like bear that problem. I forget that hot corner is in that corner of my screen. It makes it easy. Yeah, here's another example of showing the vibrancy of the reds. Let me click us back over for a second. Yeah, this is what I like about that CCD sensor. Now, it's got a lot of resolution. If I zoom in on this, you can see. I mean, this still looks really good. You know, it's only 10 megapixels, so you can only zoom so much. You know, you got to remember, you'll start pixelating out. But we're looking on a, what is this, 27-inch monitor. This image is consuming probably 25 inches of that monitor right now. So if I grab this, that's 25. That's 50 inches. That's, you're going to say, probably 72 inches. That's printing at 6 feet wide. You get this kind of pixel resolution at 6 feet wide. So look at this. This truck looks fine. You know, 10 megapixels goes a long way. A lot of people don't realize when they're zooming in like I've done here, they see this and you'll start seeing, where was I seeing it at? Maybe it was the window frame here. Yeah, you can kind of start to see the stair stepping right here, just a little bit of the pixelation stair stepping where them two doors meet. But we're looking at it on a 6-foot canvas. You know, we back this down just a little. All that vanishes, you know. And we're still, okay, there's 25 inches. If we drag this over, we're still over 50 inches wide. Let's make it a little smaller. Let's get this down to something a little more reasonable. Okay, yeah, you got 25, and then I grab this edge, and I can move it another say 10 inches. So this is 35 inches. This is a 24 by 36 print. There is 0 resolution images, and it's poster board size. People obsess over pixels a lot. I learned that not long ago. That's why I don't look for cameras with the high megapixel count. I do have a 47 megapixel camera. It's my SL2. And I bought it 5 years ago when I thought I wanted to make sure I had plenty of megapixels. Now, if you want to crop a lot, then high megapixel sensors make sense. You know, but for most people like this, there's no reason to crop this a lot. Like, we fit it to the screen. You know, this is 25 inches. Well, this ain't 25 inches wide. We've got 2 on this edge and about 5 over here. So you're probably looking at 18 to 20 inches wide here. And if I print this for a frame or for a photo book, it's going to be even smaller. I see. I can't zoom it no littler. Look if I can pick this. No, I can't. Okay. Well, the smallest I can show you, unless I was to physically make the. There we go. I'm going to fit it to that. There you go. That's in a photo book. That's still a big image. There's 0 problems here. You know, that's incredible to me. And it has decent ISO. Once you get over 1,000 or so, it starts getting a little bit of ISO noise in it. That's a real problem you have to contend with a camera of this age. I mean, it's 20 years old. The technology 20 years ago wasn't what it is now. So that's a fact that you're constantly going to be dealing with. It's like Phil Thatch picked up a D850 not long ago because he knows it's a wonderful camera, and he wanted a DSLR to stay in his stable because I think he had wound up getting rid of them. Well, he still has a bunch of them. He's still got a D800, I think, and he's good at keeping cameras, but he has here lately been selling them as he gets done with them. But, yeah, he picked up a D850 secondhand, and, you know, those are almost 10-year-old tech now. I mean, they were, 2016, 2017 when that camera dropped? So, that's all good information. Hey, Bass Angler jumped in. How you doing, Bass Angler? I did text him earlier, but he had errands he was trying to get taken care of. Yeah, Ron said it. D200's not stellar in low light. I want to do some long exposure in low light and give it time to actually pick up data and see if it does okay. Like, I see if you keep the ISO below, 640 or so, it seems like it takes really good images. When you get to 800 and 1,000, I think it only goes to 1,600. At that point, I think you're going to start running into problems, and I think that's when you're going to actually really start to have ISO noise issues. What David says is true in Europe as well. Old DSLRs are dirt cheap. Yeah, I was shocked when I went to look at them because I knew I wanted a D200 because I've had a couple, and I know how they work, and I know they work really well. And I looked on, I think I started at KEH or used Photo Pro. I started on one of them, and one of them didn't have them at all, and the other one might have had one. And then I just tried MPB, and they had several. Yeah, they have apparently become the juggernaut of used camera gear in this country, and everybody's sending their stuff to them because they had quite a few. And they had some that were in nicer shape. They were a little more money. I thought, I'm going to get the cheapest possible one because they also check all the functions to make sure the camera does everything that it's supposed to do. Mechanically, the camera is supposed to work 100%. It might not be pretty, but it's supposed to work. So I just bought the cheapest one they had just to see. Yeah, and it works perfectly. Like 100%. Now, the film door, listen at me. I'm dating myself. This is the lever that you use to open the door that lets you get to the memory card. That door, this little lever is supposed to be spring loaded. It's stiff. See, it opens the door, but it stays over. See, now the door won't latch. That don't matter because if you return it, if you push it back, the door will latch. But I also have a USB cable, and I just download them straight from the camera, so it's only got one card, so I'm just going to plug into it and download them from it, through the USB port. And that way I don't have to fool with fighting that little lever over and over and over. Does it download them slower? Yes, it's way slower because it's USB 2.0. but it's not a big deal. I just start to download and go get a glass of water or something. By the time I come back, it's done. You know, that's how I downloaded these images earlier that I was showing you. But there was an interesting view of his Lightroom catalog, man. Oh, yeah, I'm not trying to hide it from you. This is what it looks like. This is just a photo viewer. It's called Gwen View. This is all Linux crap. If I close it, you can see this is the photos. Now, these are the ones that I saved from the culling process. And when it's got this muted tone, that's the one that's selected. If you see, I click here, you can tell by just at a glance, the one that's got this kind of muted tone is the one that you're looking at. But this actually is the not the sorting software. It's called Dolphin. What it is, it's File Explorer essentially. And you can see it. I'm multi-layers deep. You can see I'm 2025 August, Trenton, Georgia photo walk, stills, videos for the. This is video images. That's the name of the folder. You can see it right there. And I built the video. It'll go live in a week or two. And I talk about the photo walk and all these photos. Not all the photos make it into the video, but all of the keepers make it into this folder. That way I can actually see, I get to pick and choose the ones I want to, the ones that work with the video's flow and all that, those will make it in. I'll put, and there'll be bursts sometimes, you know. Like I know this photo didn't make it into the video. It's this gas station. Of course, it's not level either. That kind of bugs me a little. It needs to be leveled, but that's the drawback to not having the ZF. The ZF has a level function, and I use it because I have this bad habit of, I guess it's causing my shoulder geometry being jacked up. I roll my body slightly, and this arm sits lower because of it, and the cameras naturally will tilt. I need to level them. You can see it's actually rolled that way in this photo. You know, that line proves it. That corner, you can see it's leaned that way. Like if I was to go in here, I think I can. No, this don't give me the functionality to level it. This is just a photo viewer with a couple of light edit functions. Like, well, this is kind of a neat feature. If I pull this gamma down, it lets me. That's pretty cool. I kind of like the look of that, other than it's out of level. But and then you can save it too. But I didn't bother. I like that gamma slider in that preview tool. It's kind of neat. But yeah, that's what you're seeing. That's the. I talked about this at some point, I think, recently. Maybe it's in a video that's coming too. But yeah, I have hard drives, and then in there I have what's going on. You know, it's kind of neat. Tells all sorts of stuff. And there's a lot, you know, the photo projects, and then stuff for work. It's all in here. I save all sorts of crap. Let's see. Hi, Ulrich. How you doing today? Finally catch you live, and at a reasonable hour for Europe. Because it's normally like 2 o'clock in the morning when I go live for them boys. Let's see. D850 is the best DSLR ever made. Kind of regret selling mine. They still have some, and you can get like new in the box ones occasionally if you look around. I mean, you can get one with less than 10,000 shutter clicks. They're out there. People buy them and never shoot with them, which is kind of sad, but it's truth. Nikon ZF is the king of low light in comparison to old sensors. It is. Man, that thing works so well. The Z50, what I'm filming with right now, it's a wonderful little camera. I mean, you can see the blacks in that curtain. They're not pixelating. It looks good. The side of my, well, this side. the light's right there. I should know it, but I don't because I'm an idiot, I guess. Finer than frog hair, split 3 ways. There you go. Oh, he's talking about the D850, I'm pretty sure. D7200 colors as well. Had a Toshiba sensor. It was a great sensor. Yeah. I never had anything past the D7000. I don't remember who made the sensor for the D7000. When I had that camera, I was really leaning into the angry photographer, and that's where I started buying manual focus Nikkor glass. It was his kind of nudging, because he would talk about the old Nikkor lenses and how they rendered and how good they were, and it really made me look hard at AIS lenses and AI lenses and AF lenses. And I started getting bitten by the vintage Nikkor lens bug at that point. Up to that point, I had just bought the new G series glass. I had a 7200 G, and I had the 18 to 200 millimeter super zoom. For travel, that was a pretty good lens. It really actually did take good photos. It didn't have a lot of aperture. You know, it was stopped down pretty heavy. I think it was 5.6 to 6.3 variable aperture. But it still was kind of really nice for a general purpose lens, because you could take the camera and just that one lens, and you didn't really have to bring anything else. It was, you know, I think Ken Rockwell, I was reading his website real heavy back then too, and he jokingly said, this lens is so good you can even leave the bag at home. And I really liked that idea. So I bought one, and it did. It worked really good. Had great vibration reduction. Oh, Ray says he only has one lens left, the 85 f1.8 for F mount. The rest of his stuff is Z. He does have some nice Z mount hardware now, so that makes sense. Yeah, and if you've got an FTZ, one of these little widgets, it'll fit your Z9s, and you won't even have to worry about it. These things are worth their weight in gold. I like having them even for the old AF lenses, because it gives your camera all of the functionality except focus control. Everything in the camera works fine. MPB used, a D7200 is $475. A D850 is $1450. Kind of high for use. It's because there's people talking about them. Now, I'm assuming, most likely it's because people are talking about how great the D850 is, and there's a pretty strong used market for that camera. I know my D810 was only bringing about $700-800, and that's a 36 megapixel sensor, and it's a good camera. I used that D810 for years. Loved it. Yeah, there it is. It's Sigma 120 to 300. Because you ain't bought the Nikon 120 to 300 yet. That's a whole other subject. Yeah. But I want to be able to focus these, like the 200 millimeter micro Nikkor. This is an AFD lens. This is a stunningly sharp lens. For product photography, this lens is amazing. I use it, and I use almost exclusively macro lenses for product photography for my business stuff, mainly because of the clarity of the glass in them. Now, you have to be mindful if you buy one of these plastic rings are prone to break. A lot of times where this little tiny screw is, you can't hardly see it. There's a little tiny screw in this ring. This ring is the manual focus autofocus selector. It's a mechanical ring that allows the camera to select autofocus and manual focus by pushing in this release button. Then you can move it. And almost nobody ever uses autofocus on this lens for product photography or macro really at all. Nobody hardly ever autofocuses in macro, because they want to see what they're doing, or they're focus stacking. They want to move it in slight increments. Some people do, and that's true, but most people don't. But that's why mine stays in manual. That, and I don't have any autofocus cameras, except the D200 now. that will drive it. But you can like put this on the ZF and put the FTZ, of course, and you can focus zoom, and then you can get critical focus manually, and the camera will stay there. So you've got it set on a tripod, and then you've got it synced to the flash guns, and you know where the product sits on the table. You just go move. If you've got a bunch of different widgets, you got you a little, I normally take a little piece of masking tape, because it's really light colored and it's hard to see on camera. And I'll just put me a little piece of masking tape so that I know where the focus point is. I don't have to touch focus again. Works like a dream. And then there's this wonderful gem, the 105 f2 DC Nikkor. I really want to autofocus this lens again, and that's one of the things I want that adapter for. Because on the ZF, this would be so nice. I use it manually on the ZF now, and it works like a charm. But it would be nice to have autofocus. But yeah, this is, if y'all have never used one of these lenses, this is a real treat. It's like that 85 that Ray has. This thing's got some gorgeous glass, and it takes beautiful photos. This is a beautiful portrait lens. If you're looking for a portrait lens, this thing here is one to have. My 20 millimeters with Ron right now. He's playing with it. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Oh. She just now got my text message. Let's see. Oh. There. Daughter wrote me. Did you try focus stacking with the ZF? Is what Jacob's asking. And no, I have not. I really need to and play with it some and see how it does. Because I do have the 50, and it's a Z-mount lens. That's the only native Z lens I have, is the 50 1.8S. But I could do focus stacking with it and see how it performs. I just haven't done it. I don't do a lot of macro, even though I have a whole bunch of macro lenses. I just don't use them for macro. I use them for product photography most of the time. I have a lot of 100s or 105s. I think that one, the one on the SL2 right now is a 105, maybe a Minolta. Let's see. Pentax. It's a Asahi optical. It's an old Honeywell lens cap, but it's Pentax. But that's the one I was using last time. Done beautiful. They take gorgeous photos. 100 millimeters works better for most stuff because you have more room. You know, the 200 makes you back up a long way if you've got a larger object. If you got little bitty stuff, you know, you got stuff like these little AirPod holders or batteries or something like that, then the 200 works fine because you can get closer. But you need a lot of space to put that 200 to use on big objects. You just have to back up so much. Let's see. Only F mount I have left is the 500. I left it to Rodney. In my will. I get it now. You can still get a brand new D850 from Nikon for $1,900. Brand new. Dude, I paid so much more money for my D810. I don't remember what it was, but it was like almost $3,000. I don't remember, $2,800 for a D810 back in the day. So yeah, that's a deal. Ron's doing his 10,000 steps a day program. Oh, they're talking. Hi, Dad. The girls are watching me live stream. Hey, kid. Sierra got on Teresa's account and said, hi, Dad. The daughter is in the house. Right. We're talking about camera crap. What's the current Nikon? Oh, that 35 f1.4 is the current one. Okay. I pull up these chat pages from time to time and glance at them and see what's going on, but I don't really never look to see what the current event is. Has anybody got a question for me about something we've went over that I haven't answered yet? Everybody's talking to Teresa now. Let me check something here. Okay. There was a way to couple together multiple adapters, and I don't remember it now. I'm looking to see. Nope, I can't do it. Yeah, I can. Let's just do that. Just take me to the side. Let's see here. Am I going the right way? Nope. No, that's the wrong one. Come on, let me out. Okay, I'm looking for something on Amazon. I may have searched it backwards. Yeah, I think I put it in backwards. At some point, supposedly, there was a Nikon F mount. Okay, Nikon AF to Sony E mount. In theory, there was a way at one point to couple Sony thought I found it. Sony, or to couple Nikon AFD lenses to a Sony E mount was what I was thinking, but I'm not seeing it. At one point, that supposedly that was a thing. I'm not seeing them anymore now. I wonder if they pulled them, because at one point you had those mounts. They were out there. They had screw drive mounts that would convert to Sony E mount, and then you would get an E mount to Z mount adapter ring, and it would allow you to couple it. You could put that whole assembly together and get it to fit your camera. Good to see you, Ron. Thank you for stopping by. Ulrich's got a question. He says, how is your work with your book and street shots from Chattanooga going? Having seen the videos from your photo walks, I find this project really interesting. I have been working on it, and I actually have been getting somewhere. I've actually made it out of drive 3 and into drive 4. I have a total of 6 drives to sort through. The first 2 drives, I didn't really do any street photography at all. Most of those photos were of Sierra while she was doing like sports and rock climbing and those kind of events. And I hadn't really gotten into the photo walks in Chattanooga thing. There would be some random photography occasionally of something, but it was so spread thin that I actually just bypassed those. And I found where I really started it was in drive 3. So I picked it up there. And that happened to begin around 2016, 2017. This channel started in 2017, and I really kind of ramped up doing it once this channel started. All right, Bass Angler. You wouldn't be causing trouble or something, would you? Why would someone plant trees under a bridge? If you want to know the story behind that comment, watch today's video that dropped this morning. Hello. I can't pronounce that word. Heterogeneal. Okay. But thank you for dropping by. Thank you for leaving a comment. That really helps a lot. If y'all haven't done it yet, hit the like button. Just saying. Ah, okay. Yeah, I think I rode by there the other day, and the trees had been dug up from underneath the bridge, and they moved them out to the other side of the bridge. So maybe they'll live. Just getting you some new views. Okay. Thank you for that. Appreciate it, dude. Or dudette. I don't know, because it doesn't allude to how to address you. Let's see. I was looking at Ray's comment. Just finished setting up the Z9 to transfer JPEGs via Ethernet port. There's an Ethernet port on the Z9? Dude, that's pretty cool. That camera's big enough, I guess, to have one. Hotspot, but the hotspot also has an Ethernet port. That's kind of awesome. Just hard. Wow. Phil's here. How you doing, Phil? I'm at work, but I thought I would pop in for a second and say hello. Hope you're having a great day, and hello to everyone else. Now it's time to get back to work. Thank you for stopping by, Phil. Appreciate it. Yeah, the head cold had me down last night, so I didn't go this morning on a photo walk. I didn't get to do lunch with Sierra. I'm not going anywhere this afternoon. I'm just going to hang out at the house, and just kind of make sure I rest and relax and recover and all that sort of thing. My head cold seems to be heading out, so maybe last night was the last of it. I can breathe good today, so. Well, yeah, I thought I had found the adapters. I was going to show you. But over here, this one is just a F mount. I think this is just a standard one. Yeah, this is the Viltrox adapter. It doesn't have the screw drive focus mech, which would be right in here. So, let's see. Oh, Lord, they have a bunch of them. NF. They only have, NF to Z. But that's just like the regular. EF to EOS. They only have 2 Nikon lens to anything else adapters. Interesting. But yeah, now I'm not seeing it in the search results. I searched for Nikon AFD to Sony E adapter, and because there was a time when you could get that, and it wasn't long ago. But it's not here now. See, this is showing you. It's just the little connection ring to couple them together. The Sony E mount to Nikon Z mount. The Nikon's flange distance is so short, you can take the Sony E mount lenses, put this adapter plate on them, and actually make it work. That's pretty cool. And then the Nikon FTZ2. There's the Viltrox adapter that we just saw, essentially. And these are all just regular old plain adapters. That looks like a speed booster or something. Oh, yeah. Woo. No screw drive focus motor. So I don't guess either they pulled them, or maybe I was seeing things and maybe I had the wrong thing selected. I can't find it now. Now this is just a plain regular old Amazon page. This ain't my personal page because I don't have the login for this browser saved. But whatever. Oh, I lost my chat box. I got to bring it back up. There we go. Oh, there it is. Oh, Ray's got some fun facts here. I think the flagship cameras do. Okay. That's how they get the photos at the Olympics from the camera to the website in 0.0002 seconds after the photo was taken. 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi says Getty Images laid down approximately 13.6 miles of Ethernet cable to connect its photographers at 11 different Olympic venues. Wow. 13 miles of Ethernet cable. Wow. Consider 100 meters is the max length of cable from a switch for a reliable network. Yeah. So you got to have, okay. Well, how many photographers? Because that would increase the, because you could run. That's still a mind-boggling amount, because you could run, like, they're going to have the big boy hardware. They're not going to have the little Walmart switches like everybody around here has that's got 8 ports in and 1 out to the next one or whatever. So they're going to have them big rack mount monsters. Dude, that's pretty heavy duty. That's a lot of Ethernet cable. And you got to have those, like, wherever the photographer's set up in the event, every position they're allowed to set in, you're going to need a bundle of them things, because, there's 50 or 100 of them photographers, I'm sure, that's photographing them events. So there's going to, you got to have a cable in each spot for every one of them, probably marked for that photographer so he knows which one's his, just so that they don't argue over them, which I don't guess it would matter, but they got to somehow sort that. And probably fiber optic switches, yeah. Man, that would be incredible. That'd be a logistic nightmare. And that's just to get photos from the event venue to essentially real time it to the web. Yeah. The amount of data they're traveling, LMR 400 might not carry it. You might have to have some of that Heliax, something that carries some serious power. LMR 400 is low loss, though. It's good stuff. It's expensive. And it's a nightmare to work with. Whatever that paste is they put in that cable that keeps it from corroding, it's like it's got silicone in it or something. That stuff is messy, and it gets on your hands, and you can't hardly wipe it off. It's good stuff, though. Well, let's see. We have been streaming for a little over an hour now. Let's see if I can take a quick look at this side. Well, said I could. Is it here? Nope. I don't know where it went. Huh. I know it's here somewhere. Is it here? Oh, it's here. Okay. Y'all didn't see that. That didn't happen. But hopefully this time the stream did not play ads. I turned them off. I went into the software and disabled advertisements or ads or whatever for the duration of the stream. 5/8 hardline. There you go. I don't know what they use, but there are direct variable cables. Yeah. It's probably, like you said, it's probably fiber optic to get the information there faster. I'm trying to see what we're looking at here. Oh, okay. That's in real time. Oh, awesome. Let's see. I did have something else. Let me get off of this page. Oh, I was going to show you this one. This is also in the video, but we'll make a. There we go. Let me just jump you back over to this. When I do my vertical photos, it's always with intention. I don't do them. I normally try not to do portrait orientation. Only time I try to do it is when it matters to the photo, and this is one of those times when it matters. Like when you have the smoking is prohibited within 50 feet of building, and there's literally an ashtray sitting beneath it. That photo warrants it. I don't know who works in this building, but they got to have a cigarette to set the ashtray directly beneath the no smoking sign, and which tells you there's smoking within 50 feet of the building. Actually, if I was to spin 180 degrees from this, you'd see the street goes literally 15 feet from the building. It's essentially a back alley, but it's the street. You know, the way the building is oriented in the block, it creates a back alley out of the next street over from the main road. But yeah, I thought that was a really cool photo. I always, the first time I saw this was a few years ago, and the juxtaposition of the sign in relation to the ashtray. And back then, I think the red on the no smoking sign wasn't faded out as bad, because I didn't mute these colors. I actually kind of darkened it a little bit, but to like make the window less view throughable, because it's inside of a dark room. You can kind of see through the window a little bit, but the sign's faded. It's faded real bad. But I thought that's just a really cool juxtaposition. The only one would be better would be somebody physically standing there smoking, maybe get their back to the camera so you don't ID them and get them in trouble. Oops, wrong one. What have I done here? I done brought up the web browser and killed my picture. Nope, that ain't it. What have I done with it? Oh, it's here. There it is. That's what happens when you don't pay close attention to what you're doing. Because I got the photo viewer, I got Gwen View up and running. And then I have the chat popped out. This is what the chat looks like for me. There it is. That way I can see what y'all are saying. And I've got it drug over onto the other screen. And it's a web browser. So that's why over here on this screen I have there's two dots. See how it's got two browsers showing? One of these is the chat and the other one is the website, which is, when I clicked on it, it showed the Mega Dap deal. That's what that is. The other one is the chat. And it pushed it back behind my thing. So, of course, I'm trying to straighten all that out. That don't surprise me. But, yeah, there's what I was looking at. But, yeah, I thought that was a really cool juxtaposition. Now, as far as... yeah, discard changes. I ain't worried about that. As far as the rest of the photo shoot goes, like I said, like when you go back to the stills, you'll see there's a culls folder. There's a lot of culls where I was experimenting, trying to do macro photography with a non-macro lens. And you take you try a lot to see. I kept one. There's several of these are actually decent photos. Let's see if this one's in focus. Nope. See how blurry it is? The wind was blowing, so everybody was moving around. It was not easy getting an image. That one's in pretty good focus. It's a little out. You can see the flower here is what was mainly firing. This one's in the background. This flower's in focus. But let's see, is this one in focus? That one's pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, it's close. You can see it was right in front of his face, and he's turned away from me. You chase it constantly. What about side view here? This one's pretty good. Yep, he's out of focus. It hit the plant. Like I said, the wind was blowing them back and forth the whole time. So you take lots and lots and lots of frames. That way when you get home, you can do what I'm doing now to see which ones are in and which ones are out. The next one. Yeah, now see, that one's real good. I kind of like that photo. I think I'll take it out of the cull folder, actually. That's not bad for a 20-year-old camera with a 50mm lens. Handheld on the side of the road. This was literally on the side of the railroad tracks. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to that one, actually. I kind of like that. That's this one here, isn't it? Is that the one I just opened? Let's see. Yes. Now, you're looking straight down on him, so it's not the greatest pose in the world, but let's see. If we control X and go up here and go, shoot, let's just put it in here. Paste one file. There we go. But yeah, you can see you take lots of the same pose. Like right here, I was trying to do slow shutter speed photos. Once again, it's out of level. You got all this stuff like the power pole's bent. The building's not level. That don't help either. But Let's see if he's going to fix it. Let's see. Let's open with. Where's it at? Here it is. Now, I don't have a simple way in here to do it, but I can do it. Let's see. Yeah. Shift R. There we go. We'll just pull it around a little bit. Get it a little closer. Then if we want to see how close we are. Yeah, it's pretty close. That corner's running pretty well down that line now. It's a little off the other way, but not much. Should pull it back just a touch. Right about there. Let's see now. Yeah. See, I've got it pretty well level now. So now that it's level, you can finish that. And then you can just crop that garbage out and get rid of all that and just keep the light pole because it looks goofy. Cut out all the black corners. Yep, there's one there. You gotta pull it down some. Now it's squared up. Let's add some contrast. Look, you're getting an editing tutorial. You're not supposed to get that. For some reason, all of the... Hope your wife gets well soon. She wasn't the one that's sick. It's me. She had it several days ago. I'm pretty sure I caught it from her. But hey, Tell, I didn't see you until just now. Wife Tracy has broken both her wrists. Oh, that's what you're talking with. Good Lord. Both of her wrists. Ow. Thanks for dropping by. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I hope she gets well soon. Or at least, in 6 weeks when the bone's knit. Man, that's just terrible. That just hurts to think about. Hope she's back to operational really soon. That's just hard. Sorry to hear that. And that's why Bass Angler was saying that. Okay. Let's see. Does it have the dipper? No. Pencil. Colors. Where's it at? No, I don't want that one either. We'll just play with it and see. Make it a little less sunny. There's super sunny. There's it's getting weird. Pull it back a little bit. Yeah, I like that much better. There. Now, I'm much happier with this picture. I like the bent pole, though. That's really cool. And I was trying to get motion blur in the cars. I got a little bit in this one. But I was shooting in full sun, and I didn't have an ND filter at all with me. So I just stopped the lens down to f16 and then waited for a cloud, and I don't know that I ever got one. I believe this is still full sun. Yeah, you can see the shadow cast on the building from the awning. That bathroom door was open, but there's nothing in the bathroom. They have stripped all the fixtures out of it. I got a photo looking through the bathroom door. But yeah, I like this program. Works good. We're in the living room. And yes, another 5 weeks. Well, man, I'm sorry to hear that. He says she fell in the living room, and yes, it's another 5 weeks, and she should be okay. Good. Yeah, that would be a very hard thing to withstand or to cope with. Not being able to use either hand at all. Man, just thinking about that would be hard. I mean, you think about you take things for granted. You really do. That's just to switch over to that for a minute, because he brings up a good point. Being ambulatory with both your hands is one thing. Breaking your wrist, and maybe your fingers still function, but you can't move your wrist now. Just immobilizing that one joint and it being painful to manipulate any at all, probably. Like any weight bearing on that hand would be terrible, painful, if I had to guess. So, minimal activity, even though you can use your fingers, probably would still be quite a burden. It would be. It'd be tough to deal with. Yeah, my hat goes off to her for being able to cope with it. That's incredible. Well, I have gotten to a point to where I have run out of the things that I was going to bring up and talk about, and it's just kind of me. I've showed you an editing photo of me playing with the editors that I use. I didn't even get Darktable out. I just used GIMP, which is kind of like Photoshop-esque, but I've used it ever since it's been a thing. I've probably used GIMP for 20 years now. It just works. What I do, the simplicity of what I do, it works fine. But we can get into all that at a different time. At the end of the day, use what works for you. But I appreciate you guys sticking around, and I'm going to sign off from here. I'm probably going to go take me a nap and lay down and get some rest and go get a glass of water, rehydrate, maybe eat a snack. I'm starting to feel my back sore. I coughed a lot last night. Hey, it makes your back sore. So I'm going to go rest a little bit and maybe watch a YouTube video or two. I really appreciated you guys. You don't know how much I appreciate it, especially Tel, because I know how much stress you're under right now. Thank you for dropping by the stream for a minute. If you get some free time later, you can rewind it and see what all we did discuss. But I do appreciate you stopping in. And, of course, I appreciate all of you guys. You're all essentially regulars, except for maybe one or two names that I've seen in this chat. You have been basically the core of my YouTube channel for years now, and you don't know how much I appreciate it. I've made friends with many of you, and it's been awesome. So thank you so much. And y'all have a wonderful day. And what am I going to tell you to do? You're going to get your camera out and go take a picture with it. All right? We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.